what guidance would you give for someone who is interested in moving to one of the free trade countries? So you
Yeah.
could be an American looking to go to Canada, Canadian wanting to go to the U.S. or Mexico. The requirement that you've mentioned, there's kind of a couple different paths for this, that this could happen. The free trade is the easiest one.
Yeah.
The free trade agreement and the TN work permits are, the easiest way to do that. And if it's something that somebody wanted to do, the requirement is still, and you've got the credentials, right? You've got one of the professions. You're a nurse. You're some sort of technician, physiotherapist, a doctor, an engineer, an architect. It's one of the professions that is clear, an economist, or truly a management consultant, right?
Yeah.
If you're,
Sure.
it's one of those professions that are listed as being in the acceptable categories. There still can often be that sense of difficulty from an HR perspective. Why would we want to hire someone from outside of the country?
Yeah.
There's still a little bit of extra work, time, energy, money with lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you provide for somebody who is interested in going down this route, exploring those options, and how they might be able to communicate that to a hiring manager or an HR department or something in a way that kind of reassures them that this is a relatively simple process, or should be a relatively simple process, because of the free trade agreements that are in place?
Well, one way I do that is I am open to writing a letter on behalf of someone. Let's say it's an engineer who's looking for work in the United States. So I write a letter on his behalf or her behalf, and I say, "Hi, I'm Andy Semotiuk. I'm a lawyer." I give my credentials, and I say, "I've spoken to Tim Gloa, who's going to be applying as an engineer down in Texas, and I can assure you, as an immigration attorney who's been working for, as I mentioned, 4 years, whatever, that this is an area that is very simple, and we can handle it very quickly. Your employee can start, if you want to hire this man today or woman today, that this person can be working for you tomorrow if we do the immigration part properly. And it's a 3-year visa. It says 3 years maximum, but it's renewable indefinitely for as long as the job is open. So a comfort letter like that helps to get over it, because usually when you're interviewing in the U.S., the first question is, are you authorized to work in the U.S.? And you have to say, well, no, and then you get into the immigration discussion. And people freak out on the immigration discussion.
They do freak out, because that is one of the questions. Are you legally authorized to, typically to work here? And having that reassurance or having some sort of reassurance that it's a relatively straightforward process. I didn't understand a lot about immigration until I was one, until I immigrated, right? It's you have the horror stories of people waiting for a green card and waiting 2 years and 5 years, and it's not that. It's a brilliant agreement between all of our countries, because it does allow the free movement of people and goods.
Yeah, it's very helpful. Very helpful. I myself was on TN status, E2 status, etc. In the course of my career, coming in from Canada, etc., and the green card and all that. My son is the same. He's a lawyer in downtown New York today, and he went through the same process, just like you. So there's the comfort, and I recognize that virtually everybody who's shopping around looking for work, whether in Canada or the U.S., they bump up against this problem. But all you can do is say, look, I can assure you that if you offer me work, the immigration issue is not a concern because of the free trade agreement. And and if they're looking for a letter of some kind, that's possible to get from an attorney, sort of a comfort letter to help out. But it will always be there, a little sort of discomfort. It's not, you can't remove the discomfort because, got to go across the border. I don't know this area. So, but I think the reason why you should be able to do well in this instance is because you're a professional, and professionals are singled out by the agreement. It's not, you're not Joe Blow who's going to go down and, lifts a, wheelbarrow and work on a construction site. You have a specialty, and it's the need of the specialty that makes it's sort of like, that's the secret sauce to why these free trade agreements work.